So now, um, design of SQL Server database for hotel management system. So that's the first thing we want to see. How do we design a database for hotel management system? Are you following?
Yes.
So now, the first thing we do is we've installed Management Studio. We've installed SQL Server.
Okay.
It took us some time, isn't it?
Yes.
So what you just do is go to that place that says type here to search.
Okay.
You can see where I clicked.
Mhm.
So I'm going to look for Management Studio. I'll just search. Type MANA, and as I'm typing it, can you see this one that says SQL Server Management Studio
Yes.
18?
Mm.
I'll click on it. Hmm?
Okay.
So when I click on it, it's coming up. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So now that it's coming up, let's pause video. So now, as you can see, it says that we should connect using Windows authentication. And I told you earlier on that that one doesn't ask you for username and password, but we'll not use that. Let's use SQL Server authentication. And so my login will be SA, and the password will be that Ademola. Do you remember when we were installing? I said the password for that SA user will be Ademola. So, eh?
The L is not.
Eh?
L.
Okay. Oh, yeah, capital A D E N. Now remember password. Connect. So now we are connecting now to the database. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now that we have connected to the database, now the next thing we are now going to do is to start creating the tables. Eh?
Okay, sir.
To start creating the tables. So um, but before we create the tables, we need to create the database first. You know, like I told you during the introduction, I said the tables live inside the database.
Okay.
So I'll right click on this databases folder. I'll right click like this. So then I'll now click on new database.
Okay.
So when I click on new database, then I wait. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll now give my database a name.
Okay.
Now, so call it hotel, capital H. No, the rest small letter. MGT. That's hotel management. Then the DB should be capital, the two. So this stands for hotel management database. So as this is the name of the database now. We are creating a new database. So this is the name we are giving it. Then the owner, type SA as the owner. SA means system admin. Are you following?
Okay.
Then you click OK. Bam. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So that's how to create a database. Now, if you go under here now, under databases, you see that there is a new database called Hotel Management DB. Now, it is time for us to create the rooms
Okay.
in this hotel. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So we are going to create, first of all, we want to type room type. We want to create a table called room type first. So we come here. We will expand, we'll click the plus sign by the left of that hotel management DB. And you can see that you have many stuffs under it. And one of the things you have is what? Tables. So we are going to create our first table. And during the introduction part of the lecture, I told you that when you are creating tables, first you define the columns that make up the table, which is exactly what we are going to do now. You remember?
Yes.
So I'll right click on tables now, then I'll point to me, then I'll say what? Table. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So the first table we want to create is room type. So the first column will be room type ID. Start with caps. Type 2 should start with T. Then my I and D should be caps. Good. Now, the next column Are you following?
Okay.
Will be room type name. Good. You are getting you're already used to my convention. Did you see that each word starts with caps? Now, the next one is room type image. Okay. The next one is description. The next one is cost. Now the next one is room type status ID. Good. Now, what we have just done is to tell SQL Server that this table we are creating is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. And these are the names of the columns.
Okay.
Now, congratulations, we have given our columns names. The next thing now is to tell SQL Server the kind of data that they will contain.
Okay.
So now for this one now, I will open this combo box and tell SQL Server that the data type will be int. Are you following? Now go ahead, open the combo box here and tell SQL Server that the second column, the data type of that one will be n_50. No. Even if you want to type, you are supposed to type n first.
Okay.
NV. Any.
Okay. N bar. Okay.
Okay, good. Room type image, wait. Room type image will n max. Continue to type. It's better you pick it. Look at n max.
Okay.
Now description should be n text. Good. Now cost should be decimal. Now, by default, you can see that cost is decimal. But and it's 18,0, isn't it? It means that the decimal will not store any decimal place right now. And we are talking about money. What if they are going to pay Kobo?
Okay.
So we are going to change that 0 to 2. Are you following? So that it will handle the Kobo part.
Okay.
So clean that 0, turn it to 2.
So, but what of the 18?
Leave the 18 alone.
Okay.
So when it was 18,0, that 18 takes care of the whole number part.
Okay.
But there was no fractional part or decimal part. That's 0 decimal places. And don't we spend Kobo?
Yes.
So you have to take care of it. That's why you have that 2 there. Okay? Now room type status ID, make it int. Now at this point, the next thing now is for you to save this table. Okay? Now to save the table, you go to File. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Then you click on Save Table _1.
Yes.
Now call the name of this table. You can see it says enter a name for the table. Now enter room types as the name of your table. Now click OK. Remember, at the beginning of the lecture, I taught you about primary key. That, for example, your admission number is an example of primary key. And the primary key uniquely identify each row in your table. So room type ID is going to be the primary key for this table.
Okay.
And there is a way we set it. Are you following?
Yes.
To make room type ID to be primary key, you just go to this place. You click on that selector, or just say right click on it straight.
Okay.
When you right click on it straight, just look for set primary key. And once a key appears, it means it has become primary key.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yes.
Now, the next thing I want to draw your attention to is allow nulls. Now, if you see that by a column they tell you allow null, it means that that column is not compulsory for you to fill in information.
Okay.
The moment you see that they remove that checkbox, that means it is now compulsory that you must fill in information in that column. So for room type ID now, it has become compulsory for us to fill in information. Why? Primary key fields, they must contain data, or primary key columns.
Okay.
So that's why SQL Server immediately made it compulsory by default. Well, for room type name, we want it to be compulsory as well. Are you following? And then room type image, we want to provide the image so that our users can see. It will be compulsory. Description, let it be compulsory. Cost, let it be compulsory. In fact, let everything here be compulsory for now.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yes.
Then we'll now go to this place. We'll go to file again. Then you say save room types. That's to save changes to what we are doing. Now, look at this. Saving changes is not permitted. Blah blah blah. Now this normally occurs. Let me pause the video. Whenever you see saving changes is not permitted, this normally occurs when you just newly installed SQL Server.
Okay.
So just click cancel.
Okay.
There is something you can do to prevent that message from coming up.
Okay.
And what you do is you just go to tools. Then you go to options. So when you go to options, then you look for this option called designers. Are you following?
Yes.
Then look at this option, prevent saving changes that require table recreation. Just uncheck it. Are you following?
Okay.
So after you uncheck it, just go ahead and click OK. Are you following?
Yes.
Now after you have clicked OK, go back again and just go here, say save all.
Okay.
Bam. So you can see now it has saved the what we did selected there. Now it's not shouting here again. Are you following?
Yes.
Now before we go, there's still one more thing. In fact, we still have two things we want to do here. Are you following?
Yes.
Now you see this room type ID. What we'll be entering there is 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
But we don't want to be the people that will be typing that 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
That's auto number.
Okay.
We want SQL Server to do that job for us. SQL Server will be putting 1, 2, 3 for us, sequential numbers.
Okay.
So how do we do that for room type ID? What we'll do is we'll select room type ID. Then you now go down. Are you following?
Yes.
You now go down. You look for what we call identity specification. You expand it. Now, right now, it is changed. It is from, the value is no.
Okay.
So now you change the value from no to yes. Are you following?
Yes.
Now, when you change the value from no to yes, there are two properties I want you to look out for. You have identity increment and identity seed. Identity seed is actually the starting point of the numbering. I hope you've not closed this stuff. I think you have. Okay, you've not. Okay, thank you. So identity seed is actually the starting point of the numbering. So right now, it's saying it's going to start from 1. Increment is how it will be increasing it.
Okay.
So it will be increasing it by 1. So that means the next number will be 2. But now, to aid your understanding, I want to change the identity seed. I want to make the identity seed 201. Here. That means the starting point will be 201.
Okay.
And I want to make the identity seed here 3. Now what it means is the first room type ID will be 201. The next room type ID will be 204. The next room type ID will be 207. The next one will be 210. AP.
Yes.
Do you get it? Arithmetic progression. We'll go again. We'll save. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Save room types. So that goes. Now, in an hotel, room type should be unique. You might have VIP. You might have a presidential room. Are you following?
Yes.
Room type. Abi, you might have a double room, single room. Let's assume that this, and then these are the 4 room types. Should I have 2? Should VIP occur as two types in this table? The answer is no.
Okay.
VIP should not occur 2 times in this table. That's because you know this table. What's the purpose of this table? We use it to store the types of rooms we have in our hotel. So should I be having presidential 2 times in this table? No. So and which column am I storing that the type of room is in this column called room name? Okay. Are you following? So and you know room type ID is already my primary key. Now so the data here too should be unique. You should not repeat more than once.
Okay.
So how am I going to do it that it will not repeat more than once? And I've already set primary key. So once I've already set primary key and I want another column to be unique, I cannot set primary key again.
Okay.
But I can set what we call a unique key.
Okay.
So I'm going to set unique key on room type name. Okay?
Yes.
So how do I do that? I will right click here, then I'll go to indexing stroke keys. Are you following?
Yes.
So I click on that, then I'll click on add. So when I click on add, I now go to type. So what's the type I want? The type now is what do I want? Unique key. Then I have to tell SQL Server the column that is participating in the unique key. Now, for me to do that, I will click what we call the ellipsis here. Are you following? So when I click on it, I will now tell SQL Server that no, I don't want room type ID to be in that unique key. What I want is room type name. So I select it. Then I click OK. Now I click close. Okay? Then I now go here again. I go to file. Then I say save. Are you following? Now, that brings you this room type status. How do we do it now? Now, the room type status, we are going to have 2 values for room type status, or 3 values. 2 values in use and deactivated.
Okay.
So if you have in use, that means the hotel is still operating that kind of room type. Deactivated means the hotel no longer runs that kind of room type.
Okay.
So we are going to create another table. Remember relationship, where I told you that you can join 2 tables together, and meanwhile you can look at what a value means from another table. Like when we use the example of gender ID, when it is 4, you have to go and look at another table to find out what it means. Are you following?
Yes.
So now it is time for us to create our second table. So I'll go here again, I'll say new, I'll say table. Now you are going to type. Now hold on. The first column will be room type status ID, or your room type status ID. Oh, okay. Then the next column will be room type status name. Good. This table just has 2 columns. Now, the data type of the first one will be int. Please close the door. I know. Please close the door. Now, the data type here will be headbacker 50. Any. Good. Now, for me to make room type status ID primary key, I right click and say set primary key. Isn't it? Now, room type status name will be compulsory too. Are you following?
Yes.
Let me pause. Hold on. Okay. So room type status name is sent back. Now the 2 columns are compulsory. Now let's give the table a name. Are you following?
Okay.
So I'll go to file. I'll go to save table 1 now. So now give the table room type statuses. Room type statuses. No. Go back. S-E-S. Wait. T-U-S-E-S. Good. It's okay like that. Now, we are going to make this one sequential numbering. You know what I mean? That auto number. I'm not going to change it. I'll leave it the way it is. That's the default 1-1. You remember the other one? I made it 201.
20,
It's just for you people to get explanation. But this one, I will just change it from no to yes. So it's going to start from 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yes.
So now, I'll go here again. I'll go here. I say file, save. So it's saved, Abby. Now I want this one too to be unique key. I don't want root type status to repeat twice. So in order to do that, I have to create a unique key again. Are you following? So I'll right click here. I'll go to indexes stroke keys. I'll click what? Add. Then I'll change the type from index to what? Unique key. Then I'll click on the ellipsis here, isn't it? And I'll say the participating column this time is room type status name. Are you following? I click OK. I click close. Then I'll go again. I'll now say file. I will now say save. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to do a relationship between these two tables. Are you following? By relationship, I mean I want to do a kind of marriage between the two tables so that our program can easily look at this other table, look at the room type status ID. Are you following? And based on the room type status ID here, we can know what the room type status name is. So now, for us to do relationship, there are many methods to do relationships. But the easiest one for beginners like you is using database diagram. So I'll right click here on database diagram. First of all, since we have not done any database diagram, I will say install diagram support. So install. So it will ask me this question. This database does not have one or more of the support objects required to use database diagramming. Do you wish to create them? Then you say what? Yes. Then after that, go again, say new database diagram. Okay? Wow. Now, how many tables do you have in your database right now? So they are the only ones showing. So hold down your shift key, select the second one, table, and click add. And the two tables are inside the diagram. Click close. Now we want to join them. Are you following? Now listen, though you might not understand it. Now, for you to join two tables together in a relationship, there are two conditions that must be met. How many conditions?
Two conditions.
Two. The first condition is that the two columns from the respective tables must have the same data type.
Okay.
Now, the second condition is that one of the columns in one of the tables must be a primary key or unique key.
Okay.
So that's the condition. Now, this room type status ID, is it a primary key?
It's a unique key.
It's a primary key.
Okay.
Can't you see? Once you see that golden key symbol, it's a primary key.
Okay.
So it's a primary key. The data type is int. So it meets that second condition. That second condition says one of the column must be a primary key or unique key. And room type status ID is a primary key. Now, look at this room type, and the data type of room type status ID is int. If you are doubting me, what's the name of the table here? Room type statuses. Just expand here. Are you following? And go and check. Expand here. Go to columns. Can you see room type status ID? You see PK. PK means primary key. Int. And the data type is what? Int.
Okay.
Now, go to room types itself. Let's check out this room type status ID. That's the last column. It is int. but it is not primary key.
Okay.
But this column, the data type is int. This column too, the data type is int.
Okay.
The second condition, the first condition is satisfied, which says the data types of the two columns you want to join together must be the same, int and int. Now, a note of warning, assuming it's n varchar columns you want to join, n varchar 70 is not the same thing as n varchar 50.
Okay.
It's two different data types.
Okay.
So if you are going to join n varchar 70 to another column, if it is n varchar 70 in the first table, it must also be n varchar 70 in the second table. So now, how do you now join? Drag and drop from here. Just drop it on this guy. Are you following? Just click OK. Just click OK. Then go to File and then click Save. Let's accept the default name. Now we have done the relationship between the first two tables. Are you following? Now let's even put data inside so that to make it so that you will understand what we are saying. So let's right click on this one, this room type statuses, to actually open the table. What we just did now is to design two tables. We now want to put some data. So after you right click on this guy, go to edit top 200 rows. Now, please put presidential. Okay. What? Who put one there? Are you the one? Is it the one? Oh yeah, VIP as the next room to put stop. Executive. No, singular. Double room, double room. Just type double room. Oh yeah, single room. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let's leave this one open. Oh, room type status is Abby. We made a mistake. So I'm sorry. Sorry. Please put in use in that first one. In use. Space. No. Remove that D. Put discontinued. Okay, we don't need these three actually. It's a mistake from me. Okay, we don't need them, so we'll just highlight them and say delete, and off they go. Okay. Okay, fine. So we have two room type statuses in use and discontinued. Now let's go to room types itself. Let's put data in. But I'll be asking you people some technical question. I've asked you before during lecture 1. So I'll go here, I'll go to edit top 200 rows. Oh yeah, put presidential there. Wait, don't put yet. Wait, don't worry. Sorry, execute SQL. There's one thing I want us to do. Let's go to room types. For now, the image will not be compulsory. Okay? For now. So save. Putting this place check now means the room type image is no longer compulsory. Okay? So now let's go back to room types. Edit top 200. We have presidential. Tab again. Okay, sorry, I made a mistake. Okay, just put presidential to as description. Cost 50,000 naira. 50,000. No need. Now, room type statuses. Put 1 there. Tab. What does that 1 mean? Is it in use or discontinued?
Yes.
Use. Good. VIP. Description VIP. Cost 30,000. 1. Oga, clean everything and put 1 for me. Thank you, sir. At times I can be tough.
I know, and that's normal.
Okay. Executive. Executive. 20,000. 1. Double room. Double room. 10,000. 1. Single room. Did you see how the thing is putting number for you? You knew why we set this up, Abi? Oh yeah, single room here too. 5,000. 1. All of these rooms, are they in use?
In use, yes.
Okay, let me cause some let us laugh a bit. Short rest. Short rest. 3,000. 2. Wait. You forgot to put 2. Put 2. Okay. Now it jumped. Do you know why? It was because we didn't put data here.
Okay.
That's why it jumped there.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would have put 216.
216.
If you had been patient, you understand?
Okay.
So now, so that means the hotel. Do you know the meaning of the data we have entered now? We have a table containing all the room types that our hotel is operating, or that they have ever operated, their names and their costs, the room types that they still operate, and the one that they no longer operate. Now we have how many records? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from here it should be evident to you that there are 6 room types that the hotel has ever operated, but only 5 out of 6 are being currently operated. Are you following?
Yes.
So now with that, we move on to the next stuff. So when creating the other tables, I'm going to be a bit faster. So I'm trying to look at the name of the table you create again. Okay, the next table we are going to create is customer table. So you go here, you right click again, new table. Hold on. Now the first column will be customer ID. The next column will be first name. Or will customer not get first name?
Yes.
The next column will be middle name. Abi customer, not all customers get middle name. Now, the next column will be surname. Not all customers have surname. All customers have surname. All customers have surname. Now, the next thing again is for customer is address. Address for customer. Now, contact number. Then the next one is gender ID. Identification type ID. Customer photo. Customer status ID. Okay, good. Now at this point, okay, we don't even want to save yet. We right click here, we make this one primary key. Now the data type of this one, int, just type int. End backer 50. End backer 50. End backer 50. End text. End backer 50. int end backer max int.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Why are we using end tests instead of end backer?
Address is normally very long.
Okay.
That is why. For stuff that you need to write plenty things,
Okay,
you use end
text.
text. Nice question. I love that.
And also, address to do contain numbers too.
A mixture of numbers and letters.
Okay.
So identity that contains mixture of numbers and letters, you treat this as
Yes.
text. Okay?
Okay.
So now let's save this table at this point. File, save table. So let's save it as customers. Oh yeah, type the name, customers. Now click OK. Now, customer ID, let's make it sequential by setting identity specification. Okay? Now, first name is compulsory, surname is compulsory, address is compulsory, contact number is compulsory, gender ID is compulsory, identification type ID is compulsory, customer photo
Yes.
not compulsory, customer status ID compulsory. Eh? Okay? We'll go again. File, save.
Okay.
Now, looking at this table, how many tables do you think we are going to create to do relationships?
3.
3. Because of gender ID, identification type ID, customer status ID that are not primary key, but I have put ID by their side. Okay? So let's create gender table first. Right click, new, table. We have first column, gender ID. And then instead of going back again, just put int as the data type straight ahead. Now let's make it primary key immediately. Let's do everything we need to do on that column. You know, I was taking this slow before. So its identity now will be from no to yes. Now the second column will be gender name. That type end backer 50 will be compulsory, okay? Now, let's create unique key on gender name. We right click here, we go to indexes stroke keys, and then I go to what? Add. I'll change the type from index to unique key. I click on ellipsis. I'll change the participating column from gender ID to gender name. I click on OK. I click on close. Are you following? Then I go to here, I'll now say file, save table 1, save it as genders. Then you click OK. Are you following? Now I want to do another relationship. I'll go to database diagram, new database diagram. Now the 2 columns, I need customers and I need just genders. Okay? Bam. I've explained the basis of relationships for you before. I won't go bother repeat myself, but I'll just do the relationship straight ahead. Okay?
Yes.
And click OK. And click what? OK. Then I'll save this second database diagram. Now note that when I create a relationship, there is something that happens. Now there are new tables here. Let me just right click on tables and say refresh. There are 3 now, Abby. If you go to under customers, check your columns. You will see that gender ID is no longer like these other guys. It too is a key, but light colored key. It's like a silver colored key. So anytime a key that is not primary key, a column that is not primary key begins to participate in a relationship with another column from another table, it becomes what we call a foreign key.
Okay.
Okay? So let's continue. That's that. Let's go back to our customers table. So we need identification. Okay, before we go to that one, let's put in 2 data inside gender. Okay? Edit top 200 rows. The traditional genders are male and female, so put them in. Why is it not going to the next one? Oh, yeah, female. Thank you. So that's that. Okay? We'll still come and put in data here. But let's go back here. The next thing is identification types. Abby? That's the next table we are going to create. Abby?
Yes.
So new table. So first column, identification type ID. That type will be int. Let's make it primary key. Let's make it identity. Identification type name. End backer 50. Now this will be compulsory. Now this will be unique key.
Yes.
I right click, index it to keys. I click on add. I'll change the type from index to unique key. Then columns, participating column, I'll click on the ellipsis and change it from identification type ID to identification type name. I click OK. Are you following?
Yes.
Are you following?
Yes.
Then what will I do?
Yes.
Click close. Then I go here, file, save table 1. Person identification types. Person, yes. I want S, Lisa. Click OK. Now we are going to do another database diagram. Okay? So new database diagram. Are you following?
Yes.
All right, click. Now I need person identification types and I need customers. Are you following?
Yes.
I'll drag from here and drop on identification type ID. Abby? Okay. Okay. Then I go here. Again, I say file. Then I say save all. Diagram 2. So if you say everything. So that's that. Now we'll go back to, I can close this diagram. I can close this diagram. I don't need it. So I go back to then customer status. So ID. So let's have another table. Are you following?
Yes.
Table new. Table. Are you following? Customer status ID. That type int. Customer status name. Nbaka 50. Now make this one. Set primary key. Are you following?
Yes.
Customer status compulsory. Let's make it unique key. Eh? You right click index it to keys, add. You go to type, you change it to unique key. Are you following? Then this one will be
Status.
isn't it?
Yes.
Is this one already identity? Yes, it's identity. Then we go to file. We click on save table 1. They are customer statuses.
Status.
Good. Now, I will come here. I'll refresh again. I will go again, new database diagram. Customers and customer statuses. Eh? I will drag and drop here on that customer statuses ID. The relationship is done. Abi?
Sorry. Is the customer status ID is being drawn to the customer status number?
It's not like that. Just go to properties and check. Just go to tables and column specification. What does it tell you? Primary. If you want to, let me click on the ellipsis.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Okay.
So that it's not on the column doesn't necessarily mean that.
Okay.
Are you following?
Yes.
Then there are two things I want us to do. Let's put data inside this customer statuses for now. Login. No, login. Checked out. Checked in. Booked. I change this one to currently login. Do you understand what we are doing?
Yes, sir.
So then these personal identification types, edit top 200 rows. Put international passport. Do you understand?
Yes.
You know what international passport is?
Yes.
National identity card. Staff ID card. Other. Other means any other type of ID card. Yeah? Okay. For now, we will not put any data inside this customer. Eh?
Okay.
We will not. Okay. All said and done, I'm coming. Okay, let's create. I'm coming, please. You know that at an hotel we have customers. We also have what we call employees. Abi?
Yes.
Okay. So now, let's create employees table. These are, you understand? Oh yeah, right. So we are going here now. You know why I want us to finish the basic tables today.
Okay.
So because when next we meet, we'll now start going into Blazor.
Okay.
That's the idea. Okay. So now let's create employees table. You right click, new. Are you following?
Yes.
Table. Employee ID. That type int. We right click and make it primary key. Abi? Then identity specification. We change it from no to what?
Yes.
So yes, so it will be automatically numbering. Abi? Oh yeah, first name for employee. Employee first name. Put first name. Just first name. Are you following? Enter 50. That one will be compulsory. Middle name. That one will not be compulsory. Surname. Yes, surname. Enter 50. Compulsory. Good. Hold on, please. So, next column. The employee too will have a gender ID.
Okay.
So, gender ID for our employee. That type int. Compulsory. Then let me show you something. The employee, because it's a person, like customer, already we have some other things. Are you following? So I will suggest that just copy. It's going to have all these things, almost all these things. Just watch. So I'll go to edit. I'll say copy. Are you following? Let me delete this one. I'll delete that column. I right click. Are you following? Then I'll now go to here. I'll say edit. I'll say paste. Are you following? An employee should have address, should have contact number, should have gender ID, should have identification type ID. We don't need that for employee. So we delete that. But change this one to employee photo. Now change that one to employee status ID. Now save the table, go to file. Wait, let him come, sir. Go and close the door. Go to file, save table _1. Now save it as employees. Click OK. Now we are going to create a relationship between employees and gender. Abi?
Okay.
So we'll go to database diagram again, isn't it? So we are going to have, click on employees, we'll add it. Gender is selected, we'll add it. and click close, isn't it?
Mhm.
We didn't need to create gender table again because we have already created it. Are you getting it now? So we drag and drop from gender ID here and drop on gender ID here, isn't it?
Mhm.
Then we just say save all again, okay? Okay, okay. Are you following?
Yes.
So now we need to create another table for employee status. Are you following?
Mhm.
So what do? We come here, right click new table. Employee status ID.
Employees.
No, simple. Employee status ID. That type is int. So we come here, we right click, we make it primary key, we scroll down. Are you following?
Yes.
Its identity, we change it from no to
Yes.
yes. Now, employee status name, end back at 50. Then we make it compulsory. Then we make this one unique key. So we right click, indexing stroke, keys. We click on add. Are you following? Type, you change it from index to what? Unique key. Then participating columns, you click on ellipsis and you change it from employee status ID to employee status name. When you are working, your computer should stay very well because it's expensive. Employee status name. So click close. Now you go to save all. Now employee statuses. Click OK.
It's like you have said something like employee statistics before.
I can't remember.
You say something.
Click OK.
Okay.
The one I remember is customer statuses, not employee.
Okay.
Customer statuses are room type statuses. Refresh. Can you see? Now, we are going to create relationship between employees and
So the employee status is not showing here at the moment.
it's showing that's it.
Okay.
So new database diagram, you right click again. Abby, I'll add employees. And then, okay, I've already added employee statuses too. Then I'll drag. Are you following? Then you go to here, you save all. Are you following?
Yes.
Let's enter some data inside our employee statuses. Are you following?
Yes.
So you right click, edit top 200 rows. First value in employment. On leave. VE. Tab. On suspension. Is it making sense? Terminated. Tab, please. Resigned. Okay, tab. Dead. Is it not possible for an employee to die in employment? Tab. Sick. Abby? Tab. Okay, close that.
Pregnant.
Pregnant.
Yes,
No, let's leave that one. Okay? Now, we are almost through with the starting one. At change over. Don't worry, close the door, don't worry. It's even good for them to know that it's how the stuff is going on. Don't worry. Now, the next table we are going to create is booking. 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 So how do we do the booking stuff? We right click, new table again. Booking ID. The data type will be int, and then it will be primary key. It will be what? It will be primary key. And then it will be its identity. We change it from no to yes. Booking ID. We can't do booking ID for now. Sorry. We don't have rooms yet. So change this one to room ID. Good. Hold on. Continue. Has it been long we've not done the recording? Okay. Okay, but are we continuing?
Yes.
Okay. Room type ID. That's the next one. Int 2. Compulsory. Room number. End back at 50. Compulsory. Description. And text. Room status ID. Int. Compulsory. Okay. At this juncture, this one has to be primary key. Sorry, identity. It's already identity. Then room number should be unique key. So right click and go to index 6 to keys. Are you following? And we change the type from unique index to unique key. So participating columns will be what? Room number, isn't it? Okay, fine. Click close. Are you following? Let's save this table. Save this table as rooms. Okay. Now, let's do a relationship between room and room types. So we'll go to database diagram again. Are you following? So you add rooms, and then you add room types, isn't it? So you drag from room type ID, which is primary key, and drop here, isn't it? Then you click OK. Are you following?
Yes.
You click OK. Then you go here, you say save or then we click OK. Are you following? Now we are going to have another table for room statuses. So now you right click again, new table. Are you following? Room status ID. That type int. Room status name. That type end vaca 50. Compulsory. So now this guy will be primary key. Are you following? Then this guy will also be identity. Are you following?
Yes.
Will be what?
Identity.
Will be identity. So now, then this one will be unique key. You right click. Are you following? You click on add. You change the type from unique index to unique key. Participating columns will be what?
Room status.
Room status what? Name. You click OK. Close. What we are doing now is exactly the way a programmer will sit down and work.
Okay.
That's what we are doing, okay? So now save table, room statuses. Okay? So room statuses. Now please click OK. Bam. Room statuses. Abi? Okay. Now another database. Before we do rooms, do relationship. What was the relationship between room and room types, Abi? Okay. Now let's refresh here. Right click these tables and say refresh. Abi? So when we say refresh, what now happens? We are going to have room status. Room statuses. Abi? Now edit top 200 rows. You can have vacant. Do you agree? You can have booked, occupied, under renovation. You can have discontinued as well. Do you agree? Now, let's do relationship between room statuses and rooms. So let's do another database diagram. Okay? New database diagram, rooms and room statuses. Are you following? So I drag from room status ID. Note I always drag from the primary key side to the side that is not primary key. Did you observe that? Click OK, click OK. Then what do we do? Save. Bam. So we've done room. Abi? We are almost through. Okay, let's do booking. So we are going to do another table. For now, the lesson on SQL Server is just on tables for now. Okay? New table. Booking ID. Int. Hey, make this one big int. Big int actually can store billions, but sorry, even trillions. But int, once it's around 2.2 billion, it cannot store beyond that.
Okay.
So we want this booking table to contain, if possible, trillions of rows.
Okay.
That's why we want to use big int for our booking ID.
Okay.
So big int, please. Now room ID. Room ID, next column. Room ID. That type int. Compulsory, please. Customer ID. That type int. Also compulsory. Booking date. The data type for this one will be date type.
Date type.
Yes, TI. Compulsory. Now, check-in date. Date type, not compulsory. Check out date. Date type, not compulsory. Booking status ID. That should tell you that another table is coming. Have you? Hint. All right. Let's.
Compulsory.
Yes, that one is compulsory. Now, this one will be primary key. And it will be identity. Abi? So the assignment will be that you guys should watch the video tomorrow at your respective homes, okay? Okay, this one is identity already. Now let's save the table. Go to file. Say save. Bookings, please. Bookings. Now we click OK. Okay. So I haven't clicked OK. Oh, let's say save all. I'm seeing something. Save all.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
But you don't get the unique key for this one.
I don't need a unique key here. It's not all tables that you need unique key. Now, unique key only occurs where you know that if you notice the primary key is always unique. I only use unique key if another table, another column in that same table, there is a need for it to be unique. For room statuses, we need each value there to be under the room status name to be unique. But this one, the values in these tables don't need to be unique because different customers will be coming. So this one doesn't need. So it's not always that you must create unique key in a table, but it's good practice for all your tables to always have a primary key. Do you get that one? So I know that you won't understand now when a table should have unique key. You won't understand for very well for now, but I know you'll get it later. Okay? So, but it comes with professional experience. Okay? So, guys, you have room ID. So this one, now let's create relationships. We are going to do 3 relationships. But before we do the relationship, let's create booking status table first. Now, booking status, if you notice the guys, I want you to notice something. The guys that always have unique key most of the time are all those other tables that you need to do relationships with them. Like now, if you see room ID, it has a unique key called room number. Customer ID doesn't have a unique key. Well, technically, it has a unique key. Ask me why. The unique it has customer ID, and a primary key technically is also a unique key. Technically, are you following? But it's only that primary key it doesn't have any other key. So, but look at this booking status ID. It's going to have booking status name, which will be unique. Are you following? Now let's create a booking status table. Go to new table. Oh yeah, booking status ID. Did I answer your question, boss? That type int. Now tab booking status name. End back at 50. Make it compulsory, please. Now we'll make this one primary key. We'll make this one unique key. Hat. Type. So unique key. Okay. Booking status ID. Booking status name. Are you following? Uh, Click close. Now we are going to save this table. We go to File, Save Table 1. Booking statuses. Another programmer might not like my table structure, but it works for me. And as long as I'm not working for you, I use what works for me. Okay? We forgot to deal with identity specification here. Thank God we saw this one. Okay? So we have to save again. Okay? So now database diagram again. Are you following?
Yes.
I can use shift to hold it to. Click close. And let me make it more interesting. Let me add another table. Instead of creating separate table, customers, that's customer ID. And I need to add room too because of that room ID. Do you agree? So I just been taking my time to, so you could actually add all. So, but it's always advisable that your database diagram should not be too cluttered. That's why I've been taking time to add them two. But now I want to add all the 4. Now this is the main guy. We are now going to join all these other guys to this main guy. So I go here. I drag this booking status ID here. Yes or no? Click OK. Now customer ID. This is the primary key. Abi? I hope I'm communicating, boss.
Yes.
My second boss.
Yes.
So customer ID. Click OK. Are you following? Now room ID. Room ID. Okay. Then I say save all. Say okay. I think that's about all. Abi? So now booking statuses. Let's put some data there. Let's refresh our table list here. Right click, say refresh. Are you following? Now these booking statuses. Are you following? Edit top 200 rows. Now booked. Put booked. Booking paid. Checked in. Checked out. Let's leave it like that. Oh, booking, okay. Booking paid. Checked in. Checked out. Okay, let's leave it like that. It's okay. Now, we have created tables for booking, customer, isn't it? We have created a table for employee. Now, when an hotel is being run, there's what we call expenses do occur. Are you following? So you want to know when expenses occur. Are you following? So we are going to have another table called expenses. So go to tables, right click, new table, expense ID, int, next column, employee ID, which employee is incurring this expense, okay? Employee ID. What data will you use for employee ID?
Is int.
We are going to make it big int. Make this one big int. Now go to employee, right click on this employee. Right click on it. Okay, did you make it int? Let's leave it int. Let's leave it the way it is for now. Int 2. Okay, employee ID int. Now expense type ID int. Expense type ID. Description and text.
Will it be compulsory or not?
Leave it like that. It's not compulsory.
Fast now.
Amount. You said
Oh, it's fast. I'm not as fast.
amount. Decimal. Decimal. Now change the 0 to 2. No, sir. Now make it compulsory. Date. Expense date. Make it expense date.
Expense.
Date. Now, let's leave that status out. Eh? Okay. Expense status ID. Put it. Int. Compulsory, please. Now make expense ID primary key. Make that same expense ID identity. Just go underneath. No, you have to click that arrow. Yes, now change the lower no. Yeah. Are you following? Good. There is no need for any unique key here. Save the table for now.
This safety was in.
Save table 1. Expenses.
Sorry, when are we saving on and when do we save as table?
Where you have to save more than one thing together. Like when relationship occurs, you are joining two things together, you need to save. But this one now, and then when you sense that there are some other things that are not saved,
Okay.
so those two, now, those two scenarios, okay? So now, we don't have expense type ID. Eh? So there is expense type table. So let's create a new table now. Expense type ID. No. Int. Make it primary key. Make it identity. Expense type name. No, sir. Unique key, don't they shout for you. N backer 50. Make it compulsory, please. Now let's make it unique key. Heart, please. Change the type. Good. Now, participating columns. Yes. Yes. Wonderful. Close. Now, save. No, save table. Okay, yeah, save table 1. Even if you say save all. Now, this one will be expense types. No, sir. No, sir. No space. Yes. Now, let's check this expense table again. We have expense status. Are you following? So another table again. Yes. Expense status ID. Int. Expense status name. End varchar 50. Now make expense status ID, make it primary key. Make it identity, please. Expense status ID, go back on that expense status ID, make it identity. Okay, it's identity, Abi. Now, expense status name, make it unique key. Now, please save. Yes. Now, save it as expense statuses. No, sir. Okay. Now, it is time for database diagram again. Please, new database diagram. Right click on database diagrams, new database diagram. Now, add expenses first. Add expense statuses. Add expense types too. Close. Now drag from expense type ID on this expense type ID. Do you know how to drag? Good, fantastic. No, you have to go to the left of it. Yes, drop it inside. Okay, well, you got it, yeah.
Okay.
Once it showed what we are supposed to see, okay. Fantastic, okay. Now please go to the right, let's see. Now drag from expense status ID on expense status ID. Yes. Good. Now this a classic example of a scenario where you have to do save because 3 freaking tables are involved. Okay? So we do save. Yes.
So why is the expense status ID linked to the expense date?
It's not linked to the expense date. I've told you first time that the mere fact that you see it there doesn't mean it is there.
Sorry. It's expense status.
If you want to be sure, I've told you. If you are doubting, just go there. Go to properties. Then go to this place, table and column specifications. What columns are they joining? The ID. Have I answered your question there?
Yes.
Okay, let's put in some data inside the expense statuses. Just right click on tables and say refresh. So, expense statuses, where is it? This one. No, the other one. Yes. Edit top 200 rows. Retired. Not retired. Okay, wait. Yeah, not retired. Okay, good. Change it to paid for, not paid for. Paid for, not paid for. Do you get it? Not paid for. Fantastic. Yes, so how many tables do we have more? We have item ID, we have order, we have payment, we have reminder. So we still have like about maybe 4 tables more to go.
Okay.
I don't want us to finish this thing today.
Okay.
Or what do you think?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now, let me see. The next table we are going to do will be item types. Okay, new table. Item type ID. That type int. Item type name. Make that one end back 100. Just change the 50 to 100. Okay, hold on. Okay, fine. Now make item type ID primary key. Make it identity, please. Yes, that's it. Now make item type name unique key. If you are tired, let your colleague do so. Oh yeah, guy, not the hot seat. Not the freaking hot seat. Okay, click close. Now go to file. Go to save table 1. Item types. No. Yes, that's it. Click OK. Now we are going to create another table now. Okay. Just right click on tables. Right click on tables. New. Don't worry. Just click right. No, wait. Go on table. Click on table. Make sure it's selected. Now right click on it. New table. No, don't worry. Go back. Just relax. Don't be tense. Relax. We are new. Don't leave that line. Table. Thank you. Item ID. Good. That type is int. If you press tab, it will just come there. Okay, that type int. Don't worry. Now make it primary key. Right click. Yes. Now scroll down. We want to make it identity. No, you have left it to. Make sure it's still selected. Now scroll down. Now make it its identity. No, change it from no to yes. That's lower no. Now select it from here. That combo box is called a combo box. Change it to yes. Okay, good. Now the next one is item type ID. This will be the only one you will do because of that. So I will take over for the remaining part of the lecture so that we can go on time. Okay? Now, that type int. Right. Okay, not int you, not Inter Milan. Item name. End backer 100. Change that 50 to 100. Just go there, clean the 5. Put your cursor after the 5. Now make item name compulsory. That's how to do it. Item cost. That type. Decimal. Now change that 0 to 2. The zero. Okay, you have to put your cursor, backspace, change the 0 to 2. Make it compulsory, please.
First time. Space bar.
Yes.
Just press space.
Now, details. And text. Make it compulsory too.
Space bar.
Now,
This one should be compulsory.
yes. Now, item status ID. Oga, you are shouting. Only the S should be. Int. Now you int. Not linked. Int. It's okay. Compulsory. So let me take over
Is
from
the
here.
item cost not to be compulsory?
Don't worry, I will correct that. Come and sit by my side. For the remaining part of the lecture, we won't enter data to any table.
Okay.
We'll just create the structure, then we hand the whole stuff. Okay? So let me take over. Item cost is not compulsory like Bros rightly observed. Item details, in fact, all these things here are compulsory. Okay? Now, let me see this. This one is already identity, okay? Item name will be unique key. You already know how to do that now, isn't it?
Yes.
Items. Okay. Now, we have two tables that we need to cater for. Item type, item types. Or do we have item types already? Let me just do refresh. We already have item types. We have item status. So, new table. Item status ID. Int. Primary key. Set identity. Item status name. End backup 50.
You don't get the problem. Some you are setting some as backup using some.
Don't worry, no problem. Just trust teacher. Type is when I feel that the length of the stuff need to be more.
Okay.
Unique key. Item status. Name. Abby? Click OK. So we have our unique key there. Then we save this table. You can even do save table, just right click and say save table 1. So item statuses. Okay? Now database diagram. I will add items. Then I can use shift key to select the tree. Close, and I'll drag from this place. I'll drag from this place to this place. Click OK. Click OK. I'll drag from this place to this place. Click OK. Are you following? Are you following? So save diagram 10 to save the other two tables. Okay. Now so you know your hotel guests, they are supposed to make orders for things, maybe for food, maybe for car hire service and all that. So there is a table that will take care of that. That table is called order. Okay. So but before, okay, yeah, there is a table called order. So now we are going to have new table. We are going to have order ID. That type of this one will be big int. Item ID. That type of this one will be. There are still some changes we'll do later, but because of time, we won't do them today. Item ID, int. Booking ID. Booking ID, int. Order date. Fantastic. At least you guys are getting something. Abi? Quantity. What will be the data type for quantity? Let's make it decimal. 18.2. Cost. Let's make it decimal 18.2. The status of the order. So we'll call this one order status ID. Okay, I've forgotten that I'm not using my machine. Order status ID. This will be int. Are you following? So we have order ID, there will be primary key, and the fellow will be compulsory. Do you guys agree? And then item ID must be compulsory, booking ID, order date. In fact, every check there is freakingly compulsory. Okay? So we save this table as orders. And before we do any relationship, there is a new table that we need to create for order status. So, because we've already created tables taking care of these guys, items and bookings. Do you agree? So, new table. Order. Forgotten. Order. Status ID. The data type is int. And then we have order status name. And back at 50. This fellow is primary key. This fellow will be identity. Are you guys following? And then other status name will be unique key. Are you following? So we click close, save. Other statuses. Okay. Back. Now database diagram, others and other statuses, and items, and then bookings. You know, it's those IDs that we use to identify what we need, isn't it? So if you look at these orders, item ID tells you that you need items table. Booking ID tells you you need bookings table. And other status ID tells you you need other statuses table. I hope I'm communicating.
Yes.
So drop here. He said booking ID do not match. Okay, I think I know why. There, in the other place, the reason why it didn't match is because booking ID in the other place is big int.
Okay.
Now let me go back here now. So you don't have changed booking ID here now to big int. Remember that rule that says the two columns you have the same data type. I just broke that rule. So SQL Server shouted. Do you guys follow? Now other status. Okay, I have booking ID. I have other status. Remain items. Now, so that people can see it, let me even close this one. Let me even close this guy. So that if I do something like this, you can see all the 4 tables. Abby? So I'll drag from this is the final guy that will join here, isn't it? And that does that. Abby? So that's that. Okay. So we have order, we have payment, then we have reminder. So we just have like 2 or 3 tables to go. Only 2 or 3 tables to go. It's looking like it's a bit more. I just want us to finish this SQL Server intro. Even me, I would have loved to go home now, but I want to finish this one today. Payment. Now, looking at this payment, we need payment type ID. That's all. And payment status ID, payment type ID, and payment status ID. New table. Payment type ID. payment type name. Set primary key. Identity specification. Yes. Payment types. Yeah. Indexing stroke keys. Abi? This one is already down. Okay.
Did you change this one from the payment type?
It's already done.
Okay.
Now, we've done payment types. We need payment status table too. Now, let me quickly copy here to make work faster. Paste. So, I'll change this one to payment status ID. I'll change this one to payment status name. So I make this one primary key, and I make it what? Identity. Then I make this one unique key. I click on add. Abi? Next lesson will not be as long as this. But I just felt that today's lesson can fit into one.
Since they're almost the same thing.
And that's why. So let's just see that, finish it. That's the idea. And since it's wicked too. So sorry guys. Payment statuses. Okay?
The status is fine.
What was wrong with it, sir?
Okay, it's coming.
Okay, so now the last but not the least is payment. This payment ID will be big int. So we are still going to check our tables later on, like I said, and we still do some tweakings. Like customer ID, we are going to change it from int to big int later on. But that will not be for today. So it's big int. You need to know the booking that is doing the payment. And you know the booking already contains the customer ID column. Booking ID. You know booking table already contains customer ID. So you use booking ID. Big int. Remember booking ID is big int. Do you remember? Amount. Okay, we have payment type ID. Abi? Payment type ID. Let's make that one int. Let's have room ID. If it is payment for room, are you following? Let's have room. It can be null here. Let's have item type ID. Let it be null too. Then we are going to have payment detail. Sorry, you said the L is not working. End text. Payment date. That one will be date time. Abi? Compulsory. There is no unique key here. No what? But there are some freaky relationships. Okay? We have like 3 or 4. 4. Abi? By inspection, we can see we have 4. So let's do the relationships. The first table we should add is payment because, okay, payment status too. We can see that. Then we need payment types too. How I know is once you see payment inside. So payment type, payment date. Oh, we forgot to add payment status column. I don't need to go and add it in the table. I can just come here. How can I do that? Okay, I can do insert column. No, I don't want to do that. Let me do delete. Let me go to the table itself. You have payment date and you have payment status ID, Abi. So let me just come here, do refresh. So that the table will appear here, have payments. I click design. So I want it to be in that particular place. That's why payment status ID int. Let me save this one. I just right click on it, say save. Meanwhile, this diagram I'm doing, okay, it has appeared, Abi? So maybe because I saved, Abi? So I need booking ID, add table, booking. I need room and item types, Abi? Rooms. And sorry, it's not item type ID, it's items that I need. Items ID. So I'm going to change the name of this column from here to item ID. Just like that. So even from database diagram, you can make some changes like the names of the columns when there is need for you to do that. And then I'm seeing something I don't like here. Okay, rooms and bookings, there is a relationship between them. That is why. Are you following? So we have payment type ID. Move. I've taken care of that. Remain booking ID. So I've taken care of booking payment type ID. I need to take care of room ID next. Abi?
Yes.
Okay. Then I need to take care of item ID, isn't it?
Yes.
Then I need to take care of payment status ID. Hmm? Bam. So save up. Saving like about 6 tables. Hmm? Yes, I cannot confidently. It's only one table that remains here, but we might need to create like 2 or 3 tables for us to take care of it. Have you observed that?
Yes.
So we need just one more table from what they are saying. But I'm not following what they are doing compulsory. They are doing my own. And what I'm doing is more comprehensive than
And that's
what he has done here. We are going to have reminder type ID as one additional table, so 2 table.
okay.
And then we are going to have reminder status table. So it's actually 3 more tables we need. Okay, let's do reminder type ID first of all. And then I can actually copy this guy just like I did the other time. And just come here, say new table. And then let me even close all these things. To close all the other ones, I can say close all but this. Save changes to the following objects. Okay, what happened? Okay, thank you. So now I come here, edit, paste. Okay? So I'll change this one to reminder type ID. And I'll change this one to what? Reminder type name. I know what I'm going to do. Don't worry. I'm going to make the course very interesting. Reminder type what? Name. Reminder type name. Good. So here, primary key. And it's what? It's identity, Abby. And then this guy will be what? This guy is already identity. So one of the 3 remaining tables that we need to create has been done. Abby? We need just 2 more tables. Abby? Fantastic. So I'll copy these 2 again. The other one is reminder status. Isn't it? So I come here. And this is my style of working.
Okay.
If I'm designing a new app, in Muyik Software and Music Company, we create tables first.
Yeah. What is
Muyik, M-U-Y-I-K.
Okay, it's a company.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my personal company.
Okay.
We create tables first. We'll go to another company, they don't create tables first. But we will create tables first.
Okay.
So now I've copied those 2 columns here. I'll come and paste them here. And what we want to create is reminder status. So I will change this one to reminder status ID. Sorry, Control Z. Hmm? Reminder status ID. This one will be reminder status name. Hmm? Did I do unique key on this one? I will know now. I did. Just so now here I'm going to have primary key. And then here you are going to have this identity. We are not going to compress the video of this one. Just give it to me. I'll go and find out how to do that one too.
Okay.
Okay? I might not even do that one tonight. So I have this one. Then this one will be unique key. God bless you. Teacher two is.
It's getting tired.
Hey. Okay, that's done. Isn't it? This one is identity. So two things I'm going to copy from your system. I will also make it part of the video, don't worry. But I'm going to explain what I'm doing. Reminder statuses, okay? Now, it is time to create reminder table. So, this is the last table for today's lecture. So we are going to have reminder ID, and the data type of that will be big int. Okay. Now, when we come in the next lecture, the first thing we are going to do is to look at all our tables and review the columns. But that one might not be on video.
Okay.
Okay. So we have reminder ID. I have booking ID. Okay. That one will be big int too. I have reminder type ID. Then that one will be int. Reminder detail. Reminder what? Detail. That will be end text. Reminder date. Reminder what? Date. Date time. Reminder status ID. The last but not the least. Abby? That one will be int. Now, this will be compulsory, this will be compulsory, 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 compulsory. Primary key. No unique key here. Okay? At least I proved to you that it's not every time. But by the time you become mature in this business, you will know when you need it and when you don't need it. Okay? But it suffices that you know how to do it when it's needed for now. Okay? So save reminders. Abby? Now the last piece of business is to do the needed relationships. Okay, so we need 1, 2, 3 table, abi, plus this one making 4. So new database diagram. If I were you, I will add reminder statuses, and reminder types. And then I think I need to know the bookings, because it is the bookings that are being given reminders. So I can't see reminders table. Oh, let me try and add again. Reminders. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's that. So reminder type ID, drag and drop it here. Booking ID, drag and drop it here. Isn't it? Where did I drop reminder type?
Under reminder type.
I'll need to see. I want to be sure. Yeah, done. Fantastic. So reminder, then reminder status ID. So now, guys, the next thing I want to do is to save up, isn't it? Now, one more thing, guys. I've finished creating this database. I want to transfer it to my system.
Okay.
Does that mean that I now have to start creating everything? No. I will create what we call a script, and I can use that script to transfer it to my computer.
Okay.
So let's generate the script. Let it be part of the lesson too. After that, I will stop the video.
Okay.
Now, how do I now generate a script of everything we have done in the second lecture today? You know, we had 2 lectures today. Well, just right click on the database, which is Hotel Management DB. Right click on it, and then you go to tasks. Then you go to generate scripts. Okay, so after you select generate scripts, click next here. So SQL Server will now look at what you have. Now I'm going to tell you that script entire database and all database objects. Then I'll click next. Are you following? Then I'll go to advanced. This advanced will allow me to set some other options. Okay. Now the options I want to set here is, I want it to script, even though you have SQL Server 2019, let's tell it to script it for SQL Server 2012. So that means you will be able to run the script from any SQL Server from 2012 upwards. So I'll leave it. Then also, if you tell it to script schema only, that means the data we have entered, it won't script them.
It won't be what?
This data, you know that there are some tables we enter data into. It won't script those data that we put inside the table.
Okay.
It will only script the table structures. So we want to script both the data inside all the tables and the table structure. So we select schema and data. And then there's something called triggers that we have not even treated yet. So, but let me just say true. Okay? They are now say open a new query editor. I'll say next. I'll say next. Now SQL Server will now go look at this database, generate script for all the objects. Are you following? It's busy now. Wow. Recording. Next. Hmm? Then there's a reason why I did what I did now. Then go to finish. Now this is the script. You see everything that we did from beginning, creating a new database, going to this is the programmatic way of doing it. Uh, what you are seeing is what we call transact SQL. You see, running this script in about 1 or 2 minutes eh, will will give us everything we have been doing for the past 2 hours. A copy of it on another machine. Do you understand? So let's save this one. So we go to save. Hmm? Let's go to downloads. Hotel. mgt.sql. So now that we've saved it, on that note, guys, we've come to the end of the lesson. Close. Management Studio. And it's time for us to stop the freaking video. Thank you for watching.